Chapter 373. White Jade Immortal Mansion. Looks like you guys have a lot of fame. Huh, eldest brother teased. Little Gold smiled awkwardly, his rare monkey face red, somewhat embarrassed. Kang Tia, however, laughed. If they knew eldest senior brother, I'm afraid they would be even more excited. Eldest senior brother smiled and didn't say anything. He hadn't appeared for a long time, and the disciples of the Heavenly Tao sect had only heard of his legend. And apart from some old disciples of the divine separation stage and conjugation stage, very few of them knew him. The orthodox and demonic battlefield, I haven't been here for a long time. And the aura of this place, it's still this familiar. Eldest senior brother sighed softly and looked up at the sky. In the sky above the Thousand-Blade Valley, a golden palace floated in the void. As eldest brother looked at this palace, his sharp eyes seemed to see through the golden palace walls. In the middle of the palace, a magnificent figure, seemingly sensing something, suddenly opened its eyes and looked towards eldest brother. Eldest senior brother bowed to the golden palace, then left Thousand-Blade Valley with Kang Tia and the others. In the golden palace, the war elder watched them leave and couldn't help but frown. He's back. Why hasn't Dark Shadow returned? Could it be ... I hope that's not the case. ... double quotes. The war elder looked deeply at the treasure ship that Kang Tia and the others were traveling on before his figure flickered and disappeared into the golden palace. High in the sky in the Thousand-Blade Valley, Kang Tia and the others rode the treasure ship and disappeared into the sky with a brush. A month later, somewhere in the Flood continent, the war elder traced the familiar scent and arrived next to a cave. The dimly lit cave was silent, without any scent of living beings, and the surrounding 100 miles of earth was frozen. Snowflakes drifted in the sky. Elder of War's face turned gloomy. He stepped on the ice and snow and came next to the cave, his eyes staring at an ice sculpture. Frozen in the ice sculpture was a black-robed man with a face full of despair. Seeing the black-robed man in the ice sculpture, the war elder's face was gloomy to the extreme, and a dreary aura filled the entire space, making the surroundings depressing. Law enforcement, you taught a good disciple. Half a dozen times, Elder War let out a cold snort, and the land in a 100-mile radius all collapsed. Swoosh, a loud air-breaking sound resounded in the sky above the King's Land, and a black treasure ship was traveling at an extremely fast speed, traveling high in the storm-filled sky. It was dark at this time, and faint moonlight spilled down, shining on the 5 figures on the treasure ship. The eldest senior brother was like a sharp sword, standing proudly at the bow of the boat, immovable as a mountain, lofty as a peak. Next to him, the 4 of them, Kang Tia, Brahma Din, Zijin, and Zhao Linga, had grave, tense faces. It had been a month since they left the Thousand-Blade Valley, and they were close to the dawn-breaking Immortal Mansion, needing only a day to arrive. In this situation, even Kang Tia was a little nervous. Brother, we're almost at the dawn-breaking Immortal Mansion. Should we send a message to Brother Fatty? Zijin suddenly asked. The fatty brother he was talking about was Qian San Xiao. Kang Tia nodded. It was indeed necessary to notify Qian San Xiao. After all, wanting to obtain the inheritance of the dawn-breaking Immortal was not that easy. Who knew how long it would be delayed in there? In case if it was a few years or a dozen years, then Grandpa and Qian San Xiao would surely be anxious to death. A few moments later, Kang Tia contacted Qian San Xiao through the communication Jade slip and gave a general explanation of his matter. Qian San Xiao looked very excited and told Kang Tia to make sure he got the dawn-breaking scattered immortal inheritance and bring him some treasures when the time came. The day passed quickly, and in the evening of the second day, Kang Tia was meditating in the cabin when he was woken up by Zijin, who looked excited and thrilled. Brother, look, what a spectacular immortal mansion. Outside the cabin, Little Jin excitedly shouted. Kang Chia faintly glanced at his elder brother, who was still resting with his eyes closed on the side, then stepped out of the cabin and looked at it flatly. Right, it was the flat view, because the Immortal Mansion was very huge. So huge that he could only look at the Immortal Mansion flatly, even though he was standing 10,000 meters above the sky at the moment. In front of him was a broken space zone. Why was it so? Because Kang Chia couldn't use words to describe the scene in front of him. The entire space of 1,000 miles in a radius was shattered open, with terrifying spatial storms raging everywhere. And those terrifying tearing forces were enough to instantly extinguish a divine separation stage powerhouse. It was a very shocking scene, and Kang Chia and the others were stunned. Although they were also able to cleave through space, but space had a restorative nature, and it often didn't take a few moments for the space that had been broken by their battle to be repaired immediately and automatically. But in front of them, with a radius of 1,000 miles, such a huge space, it was surprising that all of them were broken and collapsed, and it was unknown how many years they had gone through, and they still hadn't mended up, which made people Kangshan and the others very shocked. Of course, what was even more shocking was that the mysterious Broken Dawn Immortal Mansion was currently located in the middle of this collapsed space. The Broken Dawn Immortal Mansion was very huge, more than 100 miles in length and width. It was white all over, as if it was made of white jade piles, emitting a faint white light, as brilliant as immortal light. Kang Chia and the others stood on the bow of the ship and could see that from within the Immortal Mansion, a white jade passageway derived from it. There was a defensive light shield on the passageway, blocking the ravages of the surrounding spatial storms. What a terrifying place. Was this illusion all caused when the Immortal Mansion came out? Kang Chia couldn't help but ask, such a huge shattered space, how powerful an energy did this need to be caused? From this, one could see how powerful the dawn-breaking scattered immortal was. Even after being dead for so many years, he was still able to make such a big commotion. On the side, Zijin was immersed in shock, still with his mouth wide open, looking at the beautiful and spectacular Immortal Mansion in front of him, ignoring Kang Chon's words. Instead, it was Zhao Linga who rolled her eyes and said, "Have you not inquired about where the Broken Dawn Immortal Mansion is situated? This is the Nine Heavens illusionary realm. Please have some common sense, okay?" Nine Heavens illusionary realm. Kang Chia was stunned. All along, he had indeed not inquired about the whereabouts of the dawn-breaking Immortal Mansion, because without gathering all the dawn-breaking Immortal orders, even if he knew the whereabouts of the Immortal Mansion, it would still be uninteresting. What's more, the Immortal Mansion was right there, and the entire cultivation world knew about it, so there was no need for him to inquire about it. "Are you saying that this is the Nine Heavens illusionary realm?" Kang Chia asked with some incredulity. "Idiot." Zhao Linga rolled her eyes and was speechless. Van Din, who was on the side, stifled a laugh and said, "Actually, the Broken Dawn Immortal Mansion has always been situated at the edge of the Nine Heavens illusionary realm. Or else do you think that such a horrifying place is something that a Broken Dawn scattered immortal would be able to get out of, or let alone a loose immortal? Even a true immortal wouldn't be able to make such a terrifying place." Kang Chia looked at the huge space shattered in front of him and couldn't help but nod his head. It was indeed true. If a loose immortal was able to possess this much power, then with just a few loose immortals fighting, the entire flood continent would be destroyed. Although scattered immortals were powerful, they shouldn't have such terrifying power. As far as Kang Chia knew, the Nine Heavens Mirage Realm was the place where the ancient immortals fought. There were many crippled immortal formations, and then after the Dark Age battle 10,000 years ago, it made these crippled immortal formations accidentally activate, and then informed such a special place. This young lady was chased to the edge of the Nine Heavens Mirage Realm by a few Devil Dao bastards, in order to avoid these guys. I'm going to enter it and come out again after they leave, Zhao Linga said. Before she finished speaking, Kang Qiao interrupted. He said with a surprised look on his face, "You actually entered the Nine Heavens illusion realm. Aren't you afraid of death?" It was important to know that the Nine Heavens illusion realm was very terrifying. It was the most terrifying forbidden land in the battlefield of the righteous devils, or even the entire Flood continent. And even the strongest of the Mahayana stage didn't dare to go in easily. "Xie, you're such an idiot. I'm just staying at the fringe. I'm not going deeper in. So I'm afraid of nothing." Zhao Linga sniffed and looked at Kang Qiao like he was an idiot. Kang Qiao was a little embarrassed. He felt that he did lack some common sense. The Brahma heart on the side couldn't see past it and laughed. "You can't say that. Even at the edge of the Nine Heavens illusionary realm, there are dangers. There was once a true disciple of our 10,000 Buddhist sect called Wudu, who was swept in by a spatial storm at the edge of the Nine Heavens illusionary realm, and his soul flew away ever since. That was his bad luck. His strength was too poor." Zhao Linga nonchalantly struck out. It was Kang Qiao who couldn't help but feel a stirring in his heart when he heard the word Wudu. He recalled that the Wonfo sect's supreme heart technique, the ice heart technique, that he had obtained back then, wasn't it precisely a Wonfo sect disciple called Wudu who found it in the Nine Heavens illusionary realm? "I almost forgot about the ice heart skill. When I find an opportunity to accidentally hand over the ice heart skill to Van Din, I will also be considered to have fulfilled my promise to Wudu. And Van Din, with the credit of finding the ice heart skill, will also be rewarded by the 10,000 Buddha sect." Kang Qiao thought secretly in his heart. While Kang Qiao was thinking, Zhao Linga on the side laughed smugly again. "Fortunately, this young lady is incomparably wise. Otherwise she wouldn't have discovered this immortal mansion. I really didn't expect that old man Dawnbreaker to hide the immortal mansion in the Nine Heavens Mirage realm. If it wasn't for the encounter with this young lady, I'm afraid that this immortal mansion wouldn't have had a chance to come out of the world." Regarding her boasting, the Kang Qiao trio directly ignored it, exasperating Zhao Linga as she gritted her teeth. "Right, brother, why have we been here for so long? And why haven't we seen the 6 harmonization stage powerhouses guarding the outside of the immortal mansion?" At this moment, Little Gold, who had recovered from the shock, asked with a puzzled expression, "Idiotar, those old guys don't know us. How do they know that we are carrying the key? As long as we step on the white jade passage below now, those old guys will definitely appear." Kang Qiao didn't say anything. Zhao Linga on the side grabbed the lead and said, "Then what are we waiting for? Let's go down now," Little Gold immediately said excitedly. "The stupid monkey is finally enlightened," Zhao Linga said in rare appreciation. Under Kang Qiao's control, the black treasure ships slowly landed and stopped above the white jade passageway. At this moment, not far away from the immortal mansion in the void, there were 6 powerful existences hidden in each of them, who had been paying careful attention as early as the arrival of Kang Qiao and the others. A bunch of little fellows who came to play. The combination stage powerhouse from the Poison sect said grimly, "I heard that the brat called Kang Qiao has already gathered the Dawnbreaker Immortal Order, so how could he not come until now?" The conjunction stage powerhouse from the Hall of 10,000 Demons said with some depression, "Are you an idiot from the Heavenly Tao sect? It's not like they don't know that they have us sitting here." The conformity stage powerhouse from the Demon sect sneered. These 3 ensemble stage powerhouses from the Devil Tao sat together, hidden in the void, secretly observing the immortal mansion. They did not place Kang Qiao's few people in their eyes, thinking that Kang Qiao and the others were merely visiting for fun. After all, ever since the Dawnbreaker Immortal Mansion came out, there were often cultivators from both the righteous and the devilish paths visiting this place, and they had long since seen it as a strange sight to behold. Not far away in another piece of emptiness, also hidden in the same 3 orthodox merging stage powerhouses, They pay attention to the Immortal Mansion, while vigilant not far away from the three Devil's Way merging stage powerhouses. The Righteous and Devilish Tao, with 6 harmonization stage existences, had already been watching over this place for decades. Ling Dang, didn't your little guy from the Heavenly Tao sect get 3 pieces of the dawn-breaking immortal orders? Why hasn't he come yet? Could it be that your Heavenly Tao sect wants to monopolize the dawn-breaking Immortal Mansion? Although your Heaven's Path sect is very strong, but to want to monopolize the Immortal Mansion, this is clearly impossible. In the void, a delicate woman frowned, her dark hair hanging over her shoulders, her eyebrows curved, her eyes watery, and her face flushed with red light. Her pretty face, which seemed to be blown away, was full of temptation.